Expand your mind and enrich your world. It's time for another outstanding podcast from ICRT. This is Taiwan Talk.
This is Taiwan Talk on ICRT.
Thanks for listening to Taiwan Talk. It's April 1st. I'm Keith Menconi. The occupation of the Legislative Yuan is now in its 15th day, with demonstrators still refusing to leave until the government suspends passage of the controversial service trade agreement with China. While police estimate this weekend's massive rally saw 116,000 demonstrators converge in front of the presidential office building to support the protest, groups opposed to the ongoing occupation also mounted their own demonstrations. Three groups, the Kuomintang Youth Association, as well as an organization founded by families of police officers, and another group called the White Justice Social Alliance, launched separate protests over the weekend. On Saturday, the alliance staged a protest that attracted 3,000 people in front of the Taipei main station, demanding an end to the occupation of the parliament. Organizers say they met online and decided to launch a Facebook campaign about a week ago to mobilize Saturday's event and promote peaceful discussions over the disputed agreement. I met with the spokesperson for the event, Eric Cho. What are you trying to express through the protest today?
What we're trying to express is two things. They all belong to what we think was the right thing to do. The first one is the protection of freedom of speech. We think this action they're taking right now at the moment to continue to occupy Legislative Yuan is hurting the free speech of the country, because there are about more than 50% of the people think they should vacate this place, but they occupied it so that this voice cannot ever come out from that. So right now this place has become only one opinion. We think this is not the right thing. We want to express our opinion. The second thing is that because many law has to be passed through this Legislative Yuan, and we particularly concerned about is those laws that protect, for example, that try to help final stage patients, for example, cancer patients. They offer assistance to this kind of. Right now, this kind of assistance is very weak in the Taiwan society. We think if they continue to occupy Legislative Yuan, this kind of law will be postponed. There are many of this kind, and we think this is a second thing we think that's not right at this moment.
Would you say that most of the people involved in this organization support the service trade agreement?
I think many of them agree this trade deal, but some of them are still having concern, right? So what's necessary is that the government has to do more communication at this stage from now on to let these people understand, what their concern can be resolved.
So what do you think of the protesters' demands?
So their request is that we have to pass the monitoring law first, and then they allows the legislation range to start operation. We think this is hurting the speech freedom, because speech freedom is supposed to be free, and this Legislative Yuan is supposed to be there to operate freely. It's not supposed to be someone to be able to dictate, okay, what kind of law you should pass first, and you should pass under what kind of regulation you have to commit to this. Especially this apply to some deal that we have already signed. So we don't think this is a reasonable request for them to leave the Legislative Yuan. They demanded this have to be met for them to leave, but we don't think this is right.
So do you think the review process has been sufficient on the trade agreement?
The review process was not sufficient so far. Right? So at least I think most people don't know clearly about this deal yet, because about 80% of them in the survey say they don't know anything about this. But I think they reviewed it well enough, but they need to let the people know better. So they need to enforce the communication, let people know what exactly this deal is, and let them be assured that this deal will protect whatever is hurt, and they'll tell them what is the benefit they're going to get, and try to resolve any concern they might have about this deal with China.
What moves would you like to see the government take at this point?
I think at this moment, the ball is not at the government's part. I think the students in Legislative Yuan has demanded a lot. And obviously, I don't think they demand this and expect they will get the approval of the government, because they basically want the deal to be revoked. And this is breaking a deal, a breach of a contract in international environment, and this is a serious thing. So this is an impossible request, I think. I think in Taiwan, we are really peaceful people. The foreign press see this, they're astonished, like, how can this happen? But we let it happen. Why? Because we really respect people's freedom of speech. But right now, we think these students, they may have violated this spirit. Okay, so I think the ball is at their court. They should do something and try to rectify this.
If the occupation continues, are there any other actions that this organization has planned to take?
I personally don't think, we don't have an idea yet because we are sort of a spontaneous organization. We just met 3 days ago on the internet, so we haven't talked about that. But of course, we want to continue expressing our opinion. We just hope that we don't have to do this every day on the street. We hope they can understand our voice and they can, empty the Legislative Yuan. And we have students, but the especially thing about this is most of us has job. And that's why we cannot express our opinion in the way they did it in Legislative Yuan right now, because we have a job to keep. And we can only do it on Sunday. But if we keep being frustrated, someday we might have to put on our job to express our opinion, and that's not what we want to see. And I think for the foreign audience, I think the phenomena many people observe in Taiwan may be strange, but I do hope that they can understand we are a very tolerated communities. We tolerate all kinds of voice, at least so far. Okay, it's just that at this particular moment, this deal with China has sort of picked the nerve on many people because this relationship with China is very sensitive. Right? But we do hope that to proceed in a very peaceful way, civilized way, and we hope the understanding of the foreign friends.
I also had a chance to speak with some of the demonstrators. Antonio Su is a civil engineer who attended the rally. I asked him why he decided to participate in the rally. In this clip, you're going to hear ICRT's Ben Lin assisting with translation.
I'm the one to keep silent for everything. But because of these days violent action by the students, then I think I can't stand no more. I have to come out to express my feeling against this illegal action.
Do you oppose what the students are trying to say, or do you oppose how they're trying to say it, their method?
Okay, I oppose their method. I support everyone to have a chance to express their thinking, but I oppose the students to express their thinking by attacking the parliament buildings. If we want to do anything, we have to do it under the law.
So if you had an opportunity to talk to the leadership of the student movement, what would you want to say to them?
I want to say everyone have the chance to express their feelings. We have to respect the other people's idea. Everyone's ideas is okay, I think, but no one is absolutely right. We have to listen to others.
So the student protesters are saying that the police were responsible for the violence that happened at the Executive Yuan. Do you disagree with that view?
I don't agree. Police, their duty is to keep the parliament under control of the government. And this is legal action. Besides, before the policemen use the force to get the student away, they have already warned us for a long time. But the students did not listen. Therefore, I think the students are wrong because they do anything except the law. They think they are the law. What they speak, what they think is the law. It is absolutely wrong.
What do you think of the Service Trade Pact with China? Do you think that it needs to be reviewed more, or do you think that it should be passed?
Actually, for my own opinion, because the economy of Taiwan is now worse and worse, I think such a treaty is a chance for us to trade in other countries freely. 在东南亚，在亚洲，在全世界。
He thinks that unlike some Southeast countries, Taiwan is much more marginalized because we're not signing a service treaty.
Therefore, young people will live harder and harder in future. That's what we worry about.
So you're hoping that the law will be passed quickly?
Not quickly, passed legally and passed peacefully within the limited time.
And here's Chang Shun-hang. He's a manager at a biotech company.
We want to express our voice that the Congress should belong to whole people it cannot be occupied by only part of people. There are always different opinions in the society. We should respect each other. That is how democracy works. Today, we want our Congress back.
David Chong is a retired engineer. He says he thinks the trade agreement is really just a surface issue, and the real conflict is over whether or not Taiwan should become independent from China. He believes most of the student protesters are strong supporters of Taiwanese independence and the opposition Democratic Progressive Party, or DPP.
They are part of the subsidiary forces of the DPP, and that's the reason. So all the movement of the student, all the peoples, outside there, are actually backup or just the supplemental force for DPP to conflict with KMT in the Congress, because they have no reason, to win the majority in the Congress. So they are afraid of the current government get some achievement on the improvement of relationship in between here and mainland China. Then they will lose. If there is a KMT some achievement, they will lose some elections post. So that's the basic reason. The only thing is that they take the issue this time of the APEC.
Thanks for listening to Taiwan Talk. As always, we'd love to hear what you thought of today's program. You can leave us a comment on our Facebook page or rate and review Taiwan Talk on iTunes. This helps us bring you the kind of shows you want to hear and makes it easier for other people to discover the program. For ICRT, I'm Keith Menconi.